The new Parkway Theater, located at 474 24th Street, Oakland, California, where good food, diverse entertainment, and community create a place for everyone. For showtimes and special events, check out www.thenewparkway.com.
You are listening to High School 515, where sports and comedy regain some culture.
No, we always throw Blue in there somehow. But it was Stranger Things mixed with Jumanji 2.
But would it?
You ever seen that?
Stranger Things Blue is Stranger Things mixed with Jumanji 2.
Yes, it's two. It's both.
You should get a job naming the strands of strings.
Yo, like those things don't even connect, Jared. Like. Well, I realized I was just having a casual conversation.
We were having
once
a
I heard you
conversation. That was
say,
good.
I will say, I was like, oh shit, he thinks we're recording.
I'm not recording.
Well, I was just asking Todd a question.
That was a good conversation. That was a good conversation.
All the best stuff always gets lost. You know?
I know, whatever, it's fine. No, but anyways, fuck baseball. Let's move on.
We weren't talking about baseball.
No, we were just asking about his fandom and A's.
A's fandom, yeah. A's fandom.
In the Super Bowl, being a mature,
older
cynical fan.
Older cynical.
Yeah, I think we're all more cynical.
Did you get cynical? Is that what it is?
I mean, I am.
That's part of it. I think that's part of it. Because it jades you to the, like, when you want to really root for somebody or really believe, like, in these icons of sport or performance or whatever it is that they are, like, you want to believe in a certain image and a certain, like, air about them that in today's day and age you don't have with whether it's social media exposure, just general media exposure, which is, like, it's more than it's ever been at any time. It's still getting to be every year. It's more than it's ever been at any time. Like, we're in a very rare stage of time, like in the evolution of society, where and not just for athletes, but just in general, like, you're more exposed and more connected or more, public domain than ever before. Yeah. Last year was less. The year before that was less.
Think about
you are in a prime growth and expansion, and I think that's part of which, like, you're always gonna have the fans you can control, the fans that are just gonna be diehard fans because they're just like, I like ascribing parts of my character and personality to things that I don't control, but can believe in and gain some positive and fun either entertainment or just fulfillment from, right? And so I think you have that, and you're always gonna have that mass amount of people like that. Ancient Aliens, shout out sponsorship. But otherwise, like, the fans who actually, like, have, like, core investments in components of the game and really love the game or enjoy the game, especially at levels that isn't superficial. I think sports is going to slowly start to lose more and more of those fans, and maybe that's why you see, like, some numbers, like, dipping a little bit in viewership. But it's also because there's also in the expansion that's never been this big, we're getting new forms and ways to view things. So, like, keeping track of that is still growing. Trying to find ways to make sure you keep track of that.
When we were growing up, all sports coverage was the games itself or highlights. Yeah. So it was like it never really had to remove from that world of the game in that more pure consumable form. Yeah. But now sports coverage is the minority, the game and the highlights. It's a lot about everything, the gossip. It's about the business. Like, why are we sitting around as fans, like, analyzing contracts? And if we would do that,
before we wouldn't have.
I would have done 1 year 14. He's still doing 2 years 16.
But it's just like
and
it's crazy.
But so that I think that molds, like, the
I just had an epiphany.
The lens that we see sports.
Did you know?
And that's why I'm jaded.
You know what? I just had an epiphany. Conspiracy Brother coming out right now. The sports media coverage.
You don't have a sound effect for Conspiracy Brother?
Not yet.
He needs one.
I should get one.
That's shocking.
The sports coverage for sports entertainment is like a company's Like it's like big business, big corporation. It's like their own like reality show being played out, right? But what do we know about reality shows? They make loathsome or undesirable people natural, and they habituate us without us understanding that we're being habituated to this deviant or terrible, just poor example of behavior. And what we're seeing and what we're being habituated to is the big business, which in this case is of sports entertainment, right? So we're being habituated, like you're saying, we're analyzing contracts, we're thinking about the sport in that way, and it's just like blah blah blah. Like we're habituating to like the backside of the dealings, like how like kind of cutthroat it can be and like all that stuff. But we're like cool with it. We're like, well, whatever, the team had to do what they had to do. Like it's just like they don't be loyal to that dude. All right, I love him. I had his jersey on for 8 years. But no way, just cut him. He's gone. He's weak. But like I'm just like, all right. So I think my conspiracy brother hat just started beeping because honestly, that's what it is. All the ESPN coverage, all the Twitter and all that stuff. It's just like it's like a reality TV show, a reality gossip, just stream of consciousness that people can take part in and watch, and the people that do take part in it are just being habituated and doled out to the actual, just how kind of cutthroat and dirty that shit is.
Yep.
Seriously, brother. Hey Todd, so yesterday was UFC 235. There were a couple big fights on the card. What was your overall take on the UFC 235 card in Las Vegas?
My overall take, I think it was a good card. I think it was entertaining, and there's a lot of different stuff going on. It could certainly get worse, as we know, as we've all seen. Yeah, I mean, you want me to just talk about a bunch of different takeaways? I mean, that's my overall take.
Your overall take,
pretty entertaining.
Overall take, all right, I would say, all right.
I think every little fight had some interesting points about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you want to, let's write.
What was it, 235 you said?
235, so the main card featured 5 bouts. The first fight was Cody Garbrandt. versus Lil Pun Munoz.
Yeah, that was probably my
That's
favorite
his nickname,
Yeah.
Lil Pun?
And then the second fight was
that ended in the first round.
Weili Zhang versus
I like that fight too.
Tisha Torres was a solid fight. And then those are the first two fights. Third fight was Ben Askren versus Robbie Ruthless Lawler.
And that's obviously intriguing.
Ruthless Robbie. Yeah, intriguing fight. And then you had the co-main event was Tyron Woodley was defending his welterweight title against Kamaru Usman.
Yes.
And that was a highly anticipated fight. It was Usman was the dude who was surging. Like everyone was like, "Is this dude legit? Let's put him against the best of the best." And he fought Woodley, who had this is his 5th title defense, which is I think up there in like the records of the length of title defense for that weight class. Mm-hmm. But then and the main event was John Jones versus Anthony Smith, light heavyweight championship on the line, and that fight was I think a little bit more people were more skeptical of that fight. The Woodley Usman fight was the one where like there's a little more uncertainty, and I think that was a key component to the night's success or shock, if you want to say. But anyways, what was your favorite fight of the card?
Favorite fight was the Garbrandt fight.
Garbrandt fight was awesome.
Garbrandt Munoz, right?
Yeah,
that was probably my favorite fight. Anytime you can see like a MAGA white supremacist get knocked out.
Oh, no, he's
He's always a,
Cody Garbrandt's MAGA white supremacist.
I mean, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure.
Wait. You can't bring up a comment like that without me knowing where he's from. Hold on, let me do my due diligence. You talk about him while I look him up. Let me look him up.
I'm pretty sure he has a handgun tattooed on his hip, so that's not a good sign.
Cody Garbrandt.
Maybe he's like a.
I mean, there used to be a porn star, Wesley Pipes, that had half of it. See, he was smart. That showed that he wasn't too ignorant because he had the half that's sticking out. So I was like, oh, that's kind of intelligent.
He was just trying to save money.
Yeah, he was just trying to save money. Maybe but he was like, why? I'm showing that why get the other half?
That makes sense.
It makes sense. And his SAG worked out perfect. Let's see, Cody Garbrandt. He says I think is a Magna. He's from Yorkville, Ohio.
Yeah, he's from Ohio.
I'm sure if I click on Yorkville, the population will be very, very. I'm sure there's a lot of.
Just type in Cody Garbrandt.
I'm sure there's a lot of
racist,
methadone. I'm sure there's a lot of methadone, and a lot of methadone, and a lot of Novocaine being provided in that town. I'm sure there is. Yorkville, Ohio. Township. Wow. Yeah. This is. Oh yeah. This has the makings of meth country.
It has the makings of a great America.
I don't know if did you research or you just went off of his tattoos.
It was a feel. It was less about the tattoos, more of a feel. Just looking at him.
It's like sizing him up.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was
so yeah. But other than that, it was pretty high paced, and
yeah.
I think people are kind of expecting that Garbrandt handle business because he was a former title holder. So and he's lost a couple in a row now, and so people were thinking, because not many people know about Munoz, he's not highly ranked, that this would for sure the UFC be giving him one that he's going to win just to kind of get back into the title.
That's what I was thinking too.
So I think that, but Munoz looked really good.
Yeah,
I think he's now 18-3.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
So he should climb up the ranks, and he looked good. He looked like he had a little bit of everything, and he was pretty relentless. And like I said, getting to see Garbrandt get knocked out.
Yeah, Garbrandt. I like the fight. That was probably my second favorite fight on the night. Well, it's probably my favorite fight on the night.
What was the weight class in that?
They were what one? Are they 135?
It's what's his name?
I don't have it up right now.
Dillashaw's division.
125.
No,
It's 125 or 135.
135.
All right. But no, I thought it was like the use of leg kicks is so critical in I think MMA. I don't think enough fighters use it, but like just the adequate use of it, not overdoing it, but doing it consistently as a way to keep your opponent honest. You have to like if they're a good wrestler, they can shoot when you kick also. So there's that balance of it. But like a good leg kick is really the thing that will nullify, especially a striker's ability to, if they're not good at countering or takedowns, they can really nullify a striker. And I think that's kind of what happened. Like Garbrandt looked crisper on the exchanges, obviously, because of his boxing background, but Munoz kept kicking that leg, and then at a certain point, like he was like favoring that leg, and it was like noticeable. Like he kept trying to move to make it not noticeable, but like you could see like certain steps were off.
His leg was hurting.
It was hurting, and so at that point, I think those leg kicks got Garbrandt to just be like, man, if this fight goes like in a whole nother round, because the second round, he's like, this fool keeps kicking my leg, and I don't start going for it, he's gonna just beat me off my leg collapsing. So that's where Garbrandt started kind of going after him. Landed a couple of flying knees that looked like they could have done some damage, but yeah, Munoz took a lot of that shit pretty strong, and then they just started throwing haymakers, and Munoz caught that fool, and that fool spun around like a pretzel. He got twisted.
They were both throwing hard at the same time. Yeah.
Throwing hard at the same time. But that was a dope fight. My other fight that was like kind of with that was the Ben Askren Robbie Lawler fight.
That could have had the makings of being a great fight.
That looked like it was gonna be crazy because I think Lawler was gonna be able to get up again, and they were gonna exchange again, and Lawler might get a chance to like fucking.
Yeah, I want to see that rematch big time.
Yeah, but Askren didn't look like anything special. So Aaron, the other fight was,
according to this, he won in the third.
I didn't see? Yeah.
So Askren, do you know about Ben?
Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler.
He's a wrestler dude who has not been in the UFC. He's been in.
I don't remember like
F1 or something.
Yeah, some fight league that's not Bellator, which Bellator is like synonymous with like the second biggest promotion. Yeah. That's the second best one because you get the best fighters in that one. Askren wasn't with either though.
He's the one that you can only find streamed on Facebook.
Yeah.
But he was undefeated and
he's an Olympic wrestler.
Yeah, he's got a pedigree.
Is this his first UFC fight?
Yeah, so this is his first UFC fight.
Against, and it says he's 19-0, so it's counting those other fights.
Yeah, you count your other
professional fights.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's because a lot of these guys, especially in the heavyweight division, they're like
travel around,
fighting around in Strikeforce for a long time. And then, anyway, but
or a lot of the smaller guys come from WEC.
Mm-hmm. But this guy's also notorious for being a Dana White shit talker, UFC shit talker.
Well, Dana White had a thing against him for hell long.
Yeah. So this is his first fight in the UFC, so there's that whole storyline going on, and then he goes in against Robbie Lawler, who's like kind of a famous long time. He's been in the UFC for like since UFC 35 or something. He's been a long time.
So he's a UFC guy. He's a company man.
He's a vet, and he's like kind of crazy. He's kind of just he's
a brawler.
He's ever choked
like
his wife?
an example.
No, he's never. You know, Robbie Lawler's always been a pretty consummate professional.
Yeah.
But he's been fighting since he was like 18. He went pro like when he was
Super
so
young, and he looks crazy. He kind of embodies what the UFC they kind of want
Yeah, they want that.
to be, especially like as they were starting up, just like super vicious, fun to watch, like kind of crazy.
Well, he just wants to exchange and just like
fun
bob.
fighting style to watch.
Lack of brain cells.
Yeah. So he was a former title holder, and actually I think he lost it fighting Woodley.
Woodley beat him.
Woodley beat him to get the title and has defended it ever since. But yeah, so Lawler's kind of fun. So they start, and Lawler just like pounces on him. He just, as everyone expected, he's going to be super, amped up right away, super aggressive. And so he went for that and like clocked him with several crazy punches, and looked like he might have even knocked him out.
Yeah. Well, so the exchange happened where Askren like went at Lawler and like started like trying to jump on him. He looked like he was like grabbing him, like he was just like accosting him like in like a playful clown manner. He's like, "I'm grabbing you. I'm wrapping my leg around you. I got you." And then Lawler at some point dips down and gets that fool on his shoulders and picks him up and just
That's what happened.
Power bombs him on top of his head.
He did it like
not even power
serious suplex. Like he almost.
It was like the Kurt Angle suplex. Kurt Angle.
He was 1 centimeter away from his head
breaking
in the
his
wrong
neck.
direction, snapping his neck. It would, he would have seen a live death.
It's a lot
that close. It just hit the angle to slide to bend the right way. But it
so
probably
he did
gave him
that
a
to the
concussion.
The guy did that to Robbie.
Lawler picked up Askren and dropped him.
Uh-huh.
And Askren,
when he got up, he's like obviously all.
No, he didn't get up. He got on top and started punching him, and he was like ground and pounding him, and he was hitting him with some strong ass punches. We thought it was going to end there, but somehow he did. Like he had his head snapped back a couple times when he's getting punched, but he like was still kind of grabbing. Like, and then eventually they kind of got out of it. He got out of it, was able to get back up with like after taking like 20 punches like straight to the dome like in a row. He kind of got out of it, got in defense position, got up, and they started going at it again. And he gets fucking Lawler in like they called it a bulldog choke, where he basically put him in a strong ass headlock, but then started twisting around to the point where like because Lawler was up against the fence almost, where he couldn't keep twisting with him, so he's just cranking his neck and twisting him like this. And Lawler's arm, he's grabbing him, and then it kind of goes limp and it falls.
And just like fell down and hit the ground. It looked like on television that
like in that moment,
he was out.
Yeah, and then
so right when that happened, Herb Dean, the ref, like
went up and touched him
and was like tapping him,
and he didn't really respond. But he kind of pulled his arm up slow, but like it was like one of those where like it looked like he might have been like choked out, and I was like, bro, you don't want the fool keep getting choked. That's how he gonna die. He need that oxygen. Go get the oxygen back to the brain. But like so he called it, and then Lawler popped back up and was like, what?
As soon as he called him,
Lawler popped up, so it was like, oh, was he not out?
But that happens a lot in most combat sports.
He might
How
have
many
been
times
out
have
for
we
brief.
seen someone look like but really was probably out?
Yeah,
that could be the one conscious thing that bring you back, but you were out.
Yeah.
Right? Would you say he was out?
I think he was out and back. I don't know why his arm
I think he went out
like that.
I think he went out like I think he was like one of those where he's like, oh my god, and he's like going dark, but then before like he hits like completely out, like something like alleviates a little bit, that pressure alleviated a little bit, and he was able to get it back.
Hammering around his head.
Yeah,
that's probably where the ref probably woke him back up.
Yeah.
People who are suffering from early dementia and what is it? What's the disease you get?
Alzheimer's.
They do have a moment of clarity. Now, I mean, even if they have years of like non-clarity or there is one moment they said sometimes lasts even hours where everything seems normal. You think everything's gonna go back to normal because it's been hours of this person just remembering everything, and then it's out again. And I know my auntie went through one of those. So I mean, I think combat sports seems to have that. Like you really are out, and then all of a sudden, like, wait, hold on. I mean, how many times have you seen that in boxing? Like, I mean, there's been major fights where like, what, you stopping it? It's like, wait, no, you was knocked out, dude.
There's a lot of times where they're still totally out of it. Like they stop it and they think it's a bad stoppage. They're like punching the ref's leg or something.
They're like they're
on the ground saying I'm good.
Or like they're like
this one he did stand up like right as soon as he let go. He like stood up seemingly normally. So I don't know.
He shouldn't be faking it.
He wasn't doing no.
I'm good.
He wasn't doing Stan's father from South Park. Though. Whoa, I thought this was America. I thought this was America. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, but you'll see. I would say my favorite fight was maybe that one because the hype. But the Garbrandt one, seeing him get knocked out was tight. I ended up having to do 50 push-ups last night, betting push-ups with my friend, but he ended up having to do 75 because I got 3 of the fights right. He got 2. The Lawler one was a swing one. I thought I could have won that. It would have been 125 push-ups. So whatever. But the John Jones fight.
Yeah. Woodley,
John Jones, real quick. Let's touch on those and then we'll move on. But Woodley, my estimation, did not come prepared to be a fighter that
Hold on, you skipping over the women's fight.
Yeah, you skipped over the
women's
fight.
Okay.
Wiley,
that's the one that had me the most.
Wiley Zhang. All right, sorry.
Wiley, remember
Wiley Zhang.
And I'm from China.
Versus Trisha Torres.
She studied sport medicine in Rome.
Oh, she had a freestyle. Yeah. My name is Wiley, and I'm from China. And I was like, man, that would be tight if she's like a beat drop. She started spitting.
You should get the clip, and then you put it behind the beat. That's what a real.
Did she rap yesterday?
Let's work on it.
She just grabbed the mic at the end of the interview after she won, and she had to translate the whole time. She didn't really speak any English, but she memorized like 5 lines or something. She was like, "My name is Wiley, and I'm from China. Wiley, remember me?" Or something. If she had said it, obviously
it's kind of poetic.
Dude, she should.
And then Jared was like, "You should put a beat behind that."
She said, it said she studied sport medicine in Rome.
Dude, all right. So Wiley, she actually looked kind of like Chung Lee when she was fucking. Don them kicks.
If you wasn't half Chinese, I would think you'd be racist.
Why can't I say that? I can say that I'm half Chinese. I can say that.
It still come out bad, even if
no, it does
Chinese.
not. It comes out as like an assessment of something that was like relative to what was said.
Chun Li was a video game. Dude. We don't even know what her face really looked like.
He'll say something else.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's worse than that. Yeah.
Anyway, no, but she had like some kick and punch. Her like punches looked straight, like straightforward.
She had good straight.
She had really good straight and looked like a video game character. She looked like Street Fighter throwing a punch, right? So I was like, give her Chung Li, bro. Why can't I give her Chung Li? Why give her a man? Was she too manly? Y'all saying she was manly or something, bro? It's fucked up, man.
There's other fighters you could relate her
Natasha
to.
is in Mortal Kombat.
There's other fighters not in video games. There's other fighters in
no.
UFC.
Well, the reason why I say
or
that
even boxing.
No,
you can even be like, hey man, she punched like Mia St. John or Layla Ali. Nah, you gonna
Mia
come
St.
out.
John, is that a porn star, bro?
No, Mia St. John was the original like female champion boxer.
Okay.
She's also married to Christopher St. John, who killed himself. May he rest in peace.
Oh shit.
And her son killed himself. May he rest in peace. Wow.
Damn. That's sad. R.I.P. sponsorship. That's terrible. Why'd I say that? I'm sorry. Yeah, no, but her punches and like some of her kicks actually looked like a video game, like Street Fighter, which is kind of crazy. Like I haven't seen somebody who looked like that when they threw a combination with the fluidity and the actual like form and motion like of the overhand punch, which looked straight on like fucking Ryu. Doing a push and then the kick, like the high kick.
Not Ken. Really.
I thought she was. I seriously, I thought she was gonna do that Chung Li like 1,000 kick thing where she.
Hey, don't worry. Next thing, you might even say E Honda. You know, then her hands were moving fast like E Honda.
No, she was punching like.
I thought she was punching like Balrog or Bison, but then I realized it was more like E Honda.
She was punching like Ryu, the other Asian person.
Who's the Asian person in Mortal Kombat you could relate her to?
I don't know.
Is there one? I don't think there is one. Mm-hmm. Then she looked like Raiden and
oh yeah, Raiden
and Sub-Zero.
Well, you all assume those ninjas are Asian, but anyways, let me just say, it was a relatively decent fight, but there's another women's fight in the UFC where I think they're trying to like get the names out there. It's tight. Mm-hmm. But it was like one of those fights where you kind of knew after the first round it was going to end up going to full decision.
That it wasn't. Oh, did it go to full decision?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's lower weight. Just lower weight classes don't seem to get knocked out as
they
much.
don't. Yeah.
So for the men's 125, 135
but men's
also there's not as many.
Yeah, there's not enough.
No, there isn't. And I get that. No, the smaller weight classes aren't as many knockouts.
Women's heavyweight division.
But some of those weight classes also
190.
Well, the thing is like there's also the submission game in like those lower weight classes too for men's. And it's not. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying is that there's just a higher rate from my observation. I'm not trying to hate on it. Is that there's more chances for finishes at this current state of the evolution of the sport in the men's side than the women's side, and that's not as much call out to women that they can't knock people or finish people off with submissions. It's just that where the sport is and the types of people that they're getting in the sport, like it's starting to pick up for women. For men, it was 15-year, 20-year, you know what I'm saying? Or however long men have been fighting. You think about all through the annals of time. Men have been fighting this whole time, right? The annals. I didn't say that like that.
No, I'm just laughing at you gonna bring up men fighting throughout the head.
I'm just saying.
So where the fuck you going with this?
So I'm just saying. Most of the women's fights, unless it is Ronda Rousey, unless it is, and even then, like I don't like the way she finished people. Unless it was Ronda Rousey or like Amanda Nunes, unless it's Amanda Nunes. You know what I'm saying? You know those fights typically aren't gonna like end in finishes.
Cyborg.
Those are also a bigger weight class.
Yeah, they're bigger weight classes, but I'm just saying the women's sport, they don't have the number of athletes and the amount of experience and like as a sport becoming more normalized. Like so, you're not getting as many athletes that can actually have like those special talents. Versus men's, you have a much greater dearth of people that are coming into the sport and trying out the sport.
Just to let you know, we do advocate Title IX on this show. I believe in women. I believe in women's sports. Doesn't mean I don't believe the WNBA is not bad, but
you hate on WNBA.
College women's basketball, I like. WNBA is just bad.
Do you think they should lower the women's hoops to 8 feet?
Yes,
I think
I want them to dunk. I argue with him about this all the time.
No, I actually agree. I've come to agree. I think 9 feet would be perfect, like something like that.
Well, yeah, like so you can really incorporate the dunk in the
Yeah, and it's not everyone's just gonna be able to dunk.
Because a lot of people don't understand that. I argued this for years. Women's volleyball uses a lower net, and it's great to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
I like watching it more than men's basketball. Don't bring up your bullshit, Jared. I know why you're
exactly. See, that's exactly.
Men's volleyball. Example. Why is it better than men's volleyball? The men's volleyball cover too much court too, so it's like they're spiking, but they're digging every fucking ball, and it's boring as shit. But women's volleyball, they don't dig they have to dive for it. Yeah. They don't cover as much court, so it's a lot, and it's more emphasis on your what's the one position called? That starts with U, I believe. It's a defensive specialist that both volleyball uses. And
Upchuck?
No, but it's more. But that person is more important in women's volleyball because there is more digging and diving.
So if you raise the women's net to a men's net height, do you think it would be the same?
No, because they're 6'4" and they won't be able to get over the net, or it'll be like 1 or 2. It'll be like WNBA dunking.
There you go.
It's 1 or 2 that could dunk.
Exactly.
But then women's volleyball is so successful because of that. And I think, it's more interesting to watch. I'm with you. WNBA, women's.
I think that 9 or 9, even just a half foot.
I'm going to 9.
9, but then it's going to change all what they've been practicing shooting on. That's going to be crazy.
Whatever. I mean, baseball's instituting a pitch clock, and they're doing it in the minor leagues, so that way when those players get older and get to the major leagues, it'll be in. So guess what? Start it now.
But you know, all these high schools and courts around the country, we're like, man, we got to put up some 9-foot hoops now. That's a lot of money.
Hey, guess what? They have to do it for volleyball.
None of those things that adjust. Most of the rims
are
like
great
14
rims anyway.
feet anyway.
Yeah, they never. My high school basketball, we had one rim that was like 9, 10, and the other rim was like 10'3".
Yeah, there's small ones and big ones anyway.
You talking about Live Oak Park?
Dude, our school, it was funny because everybody on our team would dunk on one side of the court, and then the other side of the court, when they tried to go for a dunk, they were wondering why they couldn't get it.
That's what there's an infamous basketball game. We played after camp one day with a bunch of these friends from camp, and Jarrett was going head-to-head matchup against this other guy, Adrian Hunter, who was like...
Shout out to Adrian Hunter. Sponsorship.
He was he was like Jarrett's same age and like a little bit shorter, like point guard style like Jarrett. So it was like, and he liked to talk shit and thought he was.
So they had a battle.
So they had like a battle, like a point guard off battle.
Did you guys play full court like little kids?
Full court at Live Oak Park, and Jarrett got destroyed.
Did not get destroyed.
I was on Adrian's team, so it could have been because I was on my presence on the team. But and Jarrett, to this day, we still argue about it. He blames it on because he says the same thing.
The court.
He said his rim was like 11 and a half, 12 feet.
One of those courts especially has one court that is way.
That's why you switch off at the halfway
We
point
didn't do that because we were.
You call it.
We didn't do that. So
that's why that rule was created, because people played at parks where one rim might be dented. And that's the rim you could dunk on.
The 12-foot rim didn't do any effect on him crossing you over.
He did not cross me over. This is also after I had a seizure.
I'm glad you hear this.
Blame it on the seizure.
All this after you had your seizure?
I had a seizure. See, and I still wasn't at full strength, and Adrian took advantage of me. But at the same time,
You take it.
he did ball me up a little bit. Shout out to Adrian. That was your one day, but he never wanted to play me again after that. Because once I came back, I was crossing that fool up. Couldn't handle me.
Speaking of the seizure summer, I remember that summer Jarrett couldn't. They took his license away.
Oh, you couldn't drive that year?
Couldn't drive for a long time. So after I would drive Jarrett home like every day after camp.
Oh man, see Todd, you a good friend.
And it was the worst time for that to happen because like if you ever been out to Jarrett's parents' house,
construction.
There's like kind of like country roads.
Yeah,
you gotta go around blind turns on cliffs, and one of the cliffs had a mudslide. Oh. And so it took out half the lane.
So they would have to stop it and you had to wait.
They made one of those one lane lights, but they didn't have it timed.
They didn't have time for like several weeks. It was like...
And so it was straight up 30 minutes that we had to wait. So if we got home after midnight or whenever they put this light on, we knew we were screwed if we got unlucky. And you couldn't just go around it because it was one lane on a blind curve on a cliff. So like you couldn't fuck around. So we just had to sit there. I remember for so long.
You didn't make Jarrett. I would have made Jarrett walk his ass and stand there and stop the train.
Run up
and radio and be like, "Be on your phone. Tell me when it's safe to go, and I'll pick you up on the other side." Because
I had to do it on the way back too.
I would have been on the 80 on the way back.
So the main fight, Woodley fought Usman.
Did I ever see Usman fight?
Maybe. He probably have.
They showed him a few times recently.
Yeah. He's kind of he's a little bit taller than Woodley, longer.
Wait, who are you talking about? Willie
Usman.
Oh, you went into the co-fight.
No, I'm just touch that real quick. But Usman just was overbearing the entire fight, just putting pressure, didn't allow Woodley to really get off. Yeah, and then just when they got in the clinch, Woodley, who's like a really top end All-American wrestler in college, got worked as a wrestler, like got taken down, wasn't able to get up off the ground.
Usman was a wrestler too.
Usman was a Division II national champion, so like people thought Woodley's wrestling.
He was in the Olympic pool.
Yeah,
so he has like crazy cardio.
Yeah,
everyone thought Woodley would be able to nullify the wrestling, and it would be a deal. It would be who had the better striking, but Usman combined everything. It wasn't
really the like traditional wrestling. It became like that.
Yeah.
More like dirty wrestling.
Clinch
game, and then just like the ability to control top position. And the clinch game and have that cardio to like stay pressing.
That's what he did the entire time. And Woodley had no answers for it.
How was the fight results?
It went the distance.
It went the distance, but he basically beat him.
I brought up that picture because I realized this is the fight you should have been taking me or talking to me about.
That's not happening.
What's supposed to happen?
That didn't happen.
I know it didn't happen.
This
fight happened
Michelle
before,
Watterson.
I thought.
All right. No.
No, this is what I want to see.
You probably saw that one. Anyways, but what I will say is, Woodley didn't show any resistance to what Usman wanted to do. Usman thoroughly dominated him. There was a point where Usman just kneed him in the thigh for 20 knees in a row, or just punched him in the ribs.
Woodley was just waiting for it to be over.
Woodley
had a bad day.
Woodley had a bad day, and the thing I worry about Woodley is that he's waiting for just to throw his overhand his right hook. To the point where he's not staying active. He's not being a true mixed martial artist, which was the trajectory he was showing.
He's been able to though, basically
use that power.
Use his wrestling ability to kind of just stay away from people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was how he waited around for the big right hook. Is he could, defend takedowns well and just has good footwork to back away and kind of keep the fight at a distance to wait for his punch.
Yeah.
But when you had someone that was as aggressive as Usman was,
he wasn't ready for that.
It threw him off his whole offense, and then he made him be on the defense the whole time, and he was too tired.
Yeah, he beat him 5 rounds to nothing, basically. Just working the whole time.
Minute,
it was really surprising.
How come you think he didn't knock him out, or he couldn't submit him?
It threw his timing off. I don't think Usman was really relentless and aggressive.
I think Usman maybe could not. He had him close to not put him down. He was rocked, but then Woodley kind of hit him with a little bit too. They went through this crazy exchange. It was kind of fucked up. The ref picked him up and was like, "You guys gotta get up." He's like, "This is a fight, Usman." He's like, "Usman, this is a fight." And then Usman was like, "Fine, I'll fucking stand here and just throw." And he's almost knocked out. They're just throwing, but they both hit each other a couple times. I think Usman was like, "Hold on, let me just not gas out and get caught doing something stupid right now." And then the next 2 rounds, he just took him back down to the ground and just worked a little bit more to make sure that he didn't stand him up. But Usman looked really good. He could, Colby Covington, fuck that dude. Shout out to Colby Covington. You can eat a dick.
They kept showing
him wearing a MAGA hat and like a T-shirt.
Holding
Such
a
piece of
fake
shit.
belt.
Such a piece of shit. Like one of the biggest pieces of shit.
Who was on that?
Colby Covington. He was the interim welterweight champion when Woodley was injured. That he won.
He's still holding the belt. He's
still
wearing the belt around
like
with
he's the
his
champion.
MAGA hat.
Yeah, but he's not that good, and he's fucking crazy. He's just like conservative cat who loves Donald Trump. Basically, like the fact that
another guy that's great to get knocked out.
Yeah,
to get knocked out.
Anyways,
Add him to the list.
it was surprising to see Willie get dominated that thoroughly, but I'm sure he'll be back in this mix soon enough. If he's the fighter that I think he is, he'll learn from this and continue to expand. Like he'll reincorporate more parts of his game and work on those parts of his game instead of becoming one dimensional, where I felt like he was kind of going towards. And I think that's what happened. One-dimensional fighters can't adjust on the fly. He wasn't able to adjust on what was going on.
See, similar things happened with him and Anthony Smith, although obviously not the high expectations from Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
But they basically both just like kind of got dominated, let the game plan, didn't take it to them. They let the other person execute their game plan. And but Anthony Smith afterwards acknowledged that, and he said, "I don't know. Like I have no excuses. I wasn't aggressive enough. I was too defensive and let John Jones be John Jones. I did all the things that leading up to the fight I said you can't do and that people always do wrong. And I did it anyway, so he acknowledged that. I think that's the right thing. Whereas Woodley was just kind of like, sometimes you just have those days where it feels like a nightmare.
Yeah.
So he was almost just like blaming it on, I just didn't have it today. I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Even though I think he was just kind of the same thing happened, which is he fought a bad game plan against this dude.
Yeah.
And whereas in Anthony Smith against John Jones could probably learn from that.
Yeah.
It seems like he's gonna like really analyze it, and I mean he's not as good as John Jones, but maybe if he ever got the chance to fight him again, maybe we'd do something different.
Yeah.
Whereas in Woodley,
well,
I feel like
as
maybe
a fighter,
the
that would give
blueprint
you a
was
better
John
out
on
too.
him.
I think as a fighter, that gives you a better out because then it doesn't put all the onus on you into why you lost that fight. Like it's not like, man, I just had a bad day. I didn't eat well, I didn't sleep well, or something else. It's like okay, I had a bad game plan.
Yeah.
Right. That means me, my trainers, we got work to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like as a fighter, I would think I would use that more. Like, dude, I had a bad game plan.
I think he's probably being honest. He's like, he just doesn't. That's how he thinks of it. Whereas I don't think that's. I think he needs to really make sure someone calls him on it at least. Like, you had a bad game plan here. You need to. If this isn't, you might have just got exposed.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. Because a couple of the other big name people that have fought Woodley recently are like, he fought Wonder Boy twice, right? Who else did he fight? Damian Maia.
Damian Maia.
Wonder Boy.
He's fought guys that obviously
fought guys that aren't gonna be like pressing hardcore. Yeah. He's fought guys that Stephen Thompson also kind of sits back and waits in his kung fu stance and waits to do his thing and find
he
a
didn't
shot.
fight somebody who
That's
was
why
relentless.
their fights were incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Because they were both doing that. And then Damian Maia is like a jiu-jitsu guy, always trying to do is a takedown. Oh, I can do a takedown defense with Woodley.
Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, now you're gonna see guys that think that can be aggressive and kind of stalk you and pressure you, might be successful going forward. So he needs to.
So do you think that's a UFC problem too? Because I know in boxing, what you see a lot of people do is right before they know they're going against a southpaw or someone in a certain style, they'll go ahead and fight someone that style so they can get ready for it. But UFC seems like the turnaround is so much faster. They can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think.
And they don't like Woodley either. Him and Dana White have a whole feud going on.
Ben Askren and him have a feud. Dana White has fighters he doesn't like.
So they want Woodley to fail.
They want him to fail. I just think Woodley he needs to stay a mixed martial artist, which I saw him grow more into, and I was like, that's why this guy could be really dope. But like, if he turns into fucking Dan Henderson, then like you're not 42 years old trying to throw H bombs, bro. Like fucking use kicks, use combinations, move, cycle. Don't just stand there and let fools back you down, and then fucking have no answer for what it means to grapple again or what it means to like work dirty boxing.
No,
but
they'd be happy if he just kind of faded and became in the senior circuit and just became a guy that has a big punch that could knock in a name and a history as like a title champion. They could just use it. He could still sell tickets, but just have him get beat by up and comers. They would love that.
Yeah. Well,
he might have to go to Bellator.
Hey, but I'll tell you, John Jones, ruthless, right?
Yeah, he's good.
John Jones is really good.
You know, Sam
Body
told me. I talked to
pumping
him.
full of steroids.
I talked to him before the fight, and he told me, "Oh, I know Jarrett's gonna pay for this because John Jones is fighting, so that's Jarrett loves John Jones."
But if you watch John Jones fight, then that is the true epitome of what you like are talking about with like a mixed martial art. If you like if you're watching mixed martial arts and you want to see a mixed martial artist at the highest level against the best competition, you watch John Jones.
That was
Okay,
just
that's
like
it.
watching that home run chase between
I agree.
McGuire and Sosa, right?
Yeah.
I watched two guys that hit home runs.
I don't know if they were
Great.
posting, man. No hablo inglés.
yeah. Say what you basically saying.
Sammy Sosa like what?
So was he clean in this one?
Sammy Sosa, we're gonna drop the charges on your doping, the federal charges, but you got to make sure you bleach your skin all the way white.
He was clean, and he didn't even. He said I didn't have my best stuff. He knew it was a sloppy fight. He probably could have finished him.
He could have finished
at
him
times, or been more brutal by like.
He could have really
seeing,
fucking fucked
because
him up.
you could have like seen a weakness of him crumpled over with his
Dude, he
stomach
had.
showing. You could have
he
done more what
literally
Usman
had
was
it,
doing.
yeah.
How Usman was like hitting the same spot
Yeah.
like over and over and over and
Aaron,
over and over.
there was like literally like the better part of two different rounds. He was squatted on the front of his knees like this, crumpled down, or he was sitting crisscross applesauce on the mat while just doing like this, and John Jones is like, back, just like basically holding, and he's sitting down. He's on the mat. So John Jones can't knee him in the head,
So
but he's just sitting there just like taking punches and like knees to the body and like stuff like that while he's just on the ground, like not even trying to get back up. It was really weird,
If John
but it was like
Jones
ultimate
is that
dominance.
good. Why did he feel the need to take steroids?
I have no idea, man. I can't
Or
answer
it
that.
could be. I mean, it could be he's as good because of steroids.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he's been. I think the way he sees the game and he knows
I'm
when
just
to
playing
do
devil's
certain
advocate.
things.
I agree with that.
I think there's that's
But
that's skill. Just like Barry Bonds.
How much of that is sometimes we see things, and then we might, as athletes, we see different things. It might be like we might witness and kind of feel our body changing as we like grow it with our skills. And he's you try things here and there, but if your body can like do those things better and more successfully, if he throws that kick a little bit higher, a little bit like with more torque, and it like snaps that much, and he sees how successful it is because his veins are pulsing and almost bursting with steroids.
I don't know. I'm playing.
I can see that.
Then
how good is he
then
really?
I have this skill now I've learned this skill where someone else might try it and might feel a twinge or like they don't get as high and they're like, I'm not gonna try that again.
I'm not
throw
gonna
that
try
move. And so you can see like theoretically that's what this is for. You could have it, or maybe he can put in more training reps because he recovers faster.
Yeah. And see, that's where Rocky ruined us all. It made us think that steroids, that the athlete takes steroids for the major fight or for the major event. But no, you take it for the training. You take it for the recovery. You take it for the build, for, like you said, to get the skill, to get the muscle memory in something that you probably couldn't do or have faith to do.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to practice something 1,000 times, trying to hit your Malcolm Gladwell 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours, right? It's one thing to try to do it and keep failing, you'll stop. But like you said, with the steroids in your system, it's like, wow, I can be successful, so I'm gonna keep doing this 1,000 times, 10,000 times, so I can get good at it.
I think people never talk about stuff like that. It's always
It's always, they think it's for the event. It's not for the event. It's for the training.
Yeah. And they think of it as purely like a bulk, like strength thing.
Exactly.
A lot of those, those '80s baseball players and the weightlifter guys. Like that's what's
they think that's all
ruined
it is.
it. Yeah, but it's these things these days, especially they're so nuanced.
Yeah.
There's so many like little subtle ways that they can tailor these drugs. I mean, what's his name? Wasn't Victor Conte? What he was talking
Victor
about
Conte.
that kind of stuff way back.
He was a genius.
20 years ago, he was talking about how you could really target certain things.
Well, that's why he was a genius behind it.
And that's
he
been
was
like
targeting.
20 years since then. So imagine what's going on now.
I mean, Jarrett takes steroids for the show.
Huh?
Yeah. He does it. Jarrett, a lot of people don't know that. Jarrett's steroids that he takes is for the show.
That explains a lot of things.
Trying to get his fingers ready for hitting the sound bites, things like that.
He's not taking it for the training?
Nope. He's taking it for the show.
You brought the nunchucks!
He also don't know how to do it right. He think, okay, I'll just take it right before I come on the show.
Yeah.
What?
You know what he is? He's like Andrew Toney. Remember, Andrew Toney was my boy Marshawn used to say. Andrew Toney is for when steroids could be the poster boy for steroids not working or how not to use steroids right. It's like he keeps coming up with steroids in the system, but he's out of shape. It's like, dude, he wasn't training. He needed it for the vet, so that way he could eat that cheeseburger. That boy is good. Good, terrible.
It's the Andrew Toney of
All right,
process.
man.